Hello and welcome to the Camnet TV Breakfast Show. My name is Messi Chadika, co-hosting with Zipporah Mushala. Today happens to be a very interesting day because we are celebrating Unity Day as a country, and it's a special day because we get to reflect as a nation on what we should actually be focusing on, and that is preserving the peace and the unity that we have as a nation. So we have a lot lined up for you this morning. Stay tuned to Camnet TV, not just another channel. So in the program today, we are going to be hosting a number of people. In the first segment, we're going to have the founder for Movement for National Values and Principles, how it happens to be Mr. Joseph Kunda, is going to come and share with us what he knows on the topic that we have come up today, which is focusing on unity beyond politics. I think it's actually quite interesting because we're living in an era whereby a lot of things have been happening in terms of politics and even social well-being, and there's been that divide, I'll call it, in the social and economic sphere of the country. So it's actually it's going to be very interesting. You should stay tuned to Camnet TV. And next up, we're going to be hosting Mr. Solomon Mbulo, who is going to come in. He's actually a pastor, or rather a reverend, and he's going to be telling us more on what the church, the role that it has in uniting the nation. So my name is Messi Chanika, alongside Zipporah Mushala. It is the Camnet TV Breakfast Show. So Zipporah, good morning.
Good morning, Mercy. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very fine. Lovely to see you today, looking amazing.
Yeah, today the weather is favorable. It's not that hot, it's not that cold. It's just fine for Unity Day celebration.
It is actually very fine. It used to be very cold lately, but now it's flexible. I'm wearing a short jacket, so it's a good sign.
Yes, definitely. And just to our viewers out there today, we're not going to have phone lines, but you can actually drop a message on Facebook and just let us know your views on what is happening. And so, like my colleague earlier alluded to, looking at the issue of unity in the country beyond politics. Of recent, we've heard a number of sentiments and concerns stating that maybe the country is divided on tribal lines, on political lines, and all those issues. But today being Unity Day, what is our position as a country? So we're going to hear from the church point of view and from the political point of view. So those are the interviews that we have today. So do stay tuned in, and you can send us messages via Facebook, where we're going to be streaming live. And Mercy, like every day, just before we start our day, we have to give our viewers out there information on their health. And so today we're going to be looking at oral health with Dr. Mercy Nkoli. So let's just have the doctor join us here on set.
Good morning, viewers. I'm Dr. Nkonde Jesse from the Medical Women Association of Zambia, and today we shall look at the summary of oral health as discussed from our previous discussion over the course of the week. So to begin with, just as a recap, it's important to know that oral health is a responsibility for each and every one of us. For so long we've been given the gift of our natural teeth. It's important that we take that responsibility seriously in safeguarding the health of the teeth and the surrounding structures of our oral cavity. So the benefit of safeguarding this is that it's a contributing factor that is essential for our overall health, as well as preventing complication in our overall health, such as in situations where there is associated cardiac conditions, diabetes, as well as respiratory problems. So having a good oral health is beneficial for overall health of our body as well as our well-being. So having noted some of the most common conditions such as caries, gum diseases, oral traumas, as well as oral cancers, it's important to know that the majority of the factors that affect our oral health practices are modifiable factors, and this can range from our own oral habits practices as well as our social habits, that is tobacco, alcohol use, and of course our poor health-seeking behavior. So emphasis must be made on early management of oral conditions and diseases to avoid severe consequences, as well as repercussions on the consequence that would result from late management. So at an individual level, it's our responsibility that we identify certain habits that predisposes us to having poor oral health, as well as identify anything that we note unusual in our oral cavity that could be a sign of a disease or a condition that could affect our oral health and general health in the future. So at this moment, we would like to put an emphasis that access to oral health is a human right for each and every one of us, and visiting a dentist regularly, at least once or twice in a year, is a recommendation that we should take up seriously, with or without a condition that's alarming. So for our psychosocial and for our mental health, it's important that we should learn to be proud of our mouth, because our mouth is, and our smile is our first language, and that we need to take as our responsibility to safeguard and preserve for a lifetime. Thank you.
So that was Dr. Mercy Nkole running us through the message of oral health. So I hope you heard or learned one or two things from there. And just a reminder to our viewers out there that the health segment is actually up for sponsorship, and so is the next segment, which is the money market. So before we start our day, apart from giving you the health segment, we also give you the money market so that you can know how our kwacha is actually faring in comparison to the dollar. So let's just take a look at the money market. So the United States dollar is buying at 16 kwacha 44 ngwe, selling at 16 kwacha 76 ngwe. The euro is buying at 18 kwacha 89 ngwe, selling at 19 kwacha 26 ngwe. The Great British Pound is buying at 19 kwacha 74 ngwe, selling at 20 kwacha 13 ngwe. The South African rand is buying at 1 kwacha and selling at 1 kwacha and 2 ngwe. So our interest as usual is the US dollar in comparison to the kwacha, which is buying at 16 kwacha 44 ngwe, selling at 16 kwacha 76 ngwe. Mercy, your thoughts?
My thoughts on this one has just been the same even yesterday.
And okay, I really like the fact that the selling part has actually come down to 16.76, because earlier it was on 17 points. Maybe I think it was row 4. I think that was yesterday or something. So really we're seeing that we're reaching towards that goal of 10 kwacha by the end of this year. So that was the target. Maybe prediction, should I say, from some economists, saying by the end of December 2022, we expect to see the kwacha. And I feel like it's really going. Yeah,
it is moving in the right trajectory, but then my interest is always in how does it reflect the normal people. Really, that's just like my interest, really, because nobody really cares about numbers. People say numbers don't lie, but
it makes us look good on paper, but yes, we want to actually live good and not just on paper.
Yeah.
And so a reminder that the money market and the health segment are actually up for sponsorship. And just now we're going to take a look at some of the stories that made headlines yesterday. So Mercy, yesterday we were together. We went to Chivolia compound.
Yeah.
And we found a number of issues there, and really places like Chivolia have always had a lot of problems. And there have even been calls for them to be demolished, like the whole of Chivolia to be demolished. But then, of course, stakeholders have said that that's not really the best way forward.
That's where people live. That's
you can demolish, but they'll shift.
Yeah.
They'll shift to their same mindsets. So you demolish a compound, but they'll still go somewhere else and begin the same issue. So people have been...
I don't really feel it can be the right move to demolish the same area, because that's where people live. That's their home. Imagine somebody comes and then just destroy your home because of your behavior. It's not making sense.
They need rehabilitation.
Exactly. We need people to like step up and up the game of rehabilitation, changing the mindset for people. Like teaching rather the best way we can live in community, not just violence and the like. Because yeah, we need that, not destroying their homes. That's like it's going to be another issue of no, find a different place for us to live in, and all that is just not necessary, I would say.
So, and of course, we've always been carrying these stories as Camnet TV, where we've been doing a number of stories about these abandoned buildings. Even in Mutendere, where I live, there are a lot of abandoned buildings, and this actually poses as a threat. Imagine you're passing in the night
Security
near
threat,
a complete building. You just wonder, like, what's in here? What's happening? And actually, even during daytime, there are rumors, or maybe just talk around the community saying these junkies, the community gangs, commonly known as junkies, actually go there and do some drugs. And all that, so really there has to be quick action, because that was about 3 months ago when the Lusaka City Council was actually doing a check on some of these buildings. That was in Kawata constituency, actually, where we went around with the Lusaka City Council. But up to now, we've not yet seen those buildings demolished, because they said they want to identify the owners so that they can have them sold off, or for those whose owners will not be known, they're going to demolish them. But it's been like 3 months and they have continued.
But then it's not really just about the buildings. I mean, a security threat is always in a place where it's secluded and not many people pass by. There was a story I did in Chalala. The place just had a little bit of bushes in the area, and we found that dead people were dumped in the same area, and people were also calling for the clearing of the same land. So it's not necessarily always about the incomplete buildings and the like. It's
we need
security overall, yes, especially in places where it seems a bit off from the residential areas. Those places really need security to be tied up.
So yesterday we actually did find a dead body, but before we preempt the story, let's just take a look at this story from Chiwolia compound. I'm here in New Chiwolia compound of Lusaka, and behind me is a building commonly known as Mutakulwa. Now, according to the residents here, this building has actually become a target which is used for many vices such as rape, murder, and the dumping of dead bodies. And so this morning of 4th July on Monday, the residents actually notified Camnet TV, stating that the body of a man who has not been identified but is suspected to be between 25 and 30 was found here in this building. And so here are the views from the residents who actually want the building to be demolished.
Toka ku market kuseni tapeza abana basobera apa ndiye kukamba ati muri chitumbi so ndiye wamete ndira bazimaite nze batatu tangena mota tapeza muntu nuwokufa achitasu so ndiye wamete ndira kuchita report ku polisi na kubauza ati kuri muntu afera mu chinyumba omu ndiye wamete bwerera na veva polisi ndiye wampezera wamdobera uyo muntu
palero fyasitika basango omuntu wafumu ero terero fyamba kale fyamba kale jonse baratora mu abantu abafumu nomba chachiramu. So I think ichefa ikafeba chitobe.
Yes. Building nda pachiramo bantu bambiri bachairapo magara. Na magara futi na marepkes futi wakazi benangu tapeza ati munyumba. Peza kati wakachoka kukapena ngutari huko wabwero mutaira omufuti muri cheche chipiti. Mwaona? Ora futi peza kati mukazi unangu akamukira futi wabwero mulepingira mwameno mfuti bagayi. Cheve chifuna ngoza ati boma yanganepo pali building.
So ngati chifunosiza bachipwanje uli bachipazi tichipwandise kasi timbera munje mwa mugazi amwali mungalero apa ni muntu wakaere mwaona peza jamwali mwaona chaka ero wantu wakanza ndi safety tampa so at least nse bakuna kanza basi aba expected ndi so at least bachipwanje bachichose epo chintu apa mwazi.
The further explained that one cannot pass here past 18:30 hours because they will be attacked by community gangs commonly known as junkies.
Majanki achitaova vachitoimirira pamene apa 19 hours isipita.
Meanwhile, Camnet TV took a step further and talked to the owner of the building, Miss Ruth Piri, who has explained that this building was actually started by her late husband, but then the family failed to complete the building following his death.
Over the building, my husband died some 2.5 years ago. It's a building permanent nankala pants wa family. Kwenye makwarozi so hapa tunaenda na court. We are planning to sell that building. Ero yo ya mene lero ndiye pamene na dabwati mwapezeka muntu wakufa. Kaya ngati bamupaira mwamene mujolo bamutaira mo chabela ya I don't know because simankala kuna na ine ni.
She explains that the matter is currently in court, and so they cannot demolish the building as the land is not yet fully in the hands because the court procedures have not yet been concluded. But she explains that as soon as the court procedures are completed, this building will be demolished. The residents, however, say they cannot wait that long and would like action immediately. Now, Camnet TV has been carrying a number of stories where a number of communities have incomplete buildings, and these have actually been seen to be used for illicit activities by criminals. We further reached out to the area councillor, Mr. Aaron Mwanza, and this is what he had to say.
So we are planning to get maybe those containers to be mounted here, so that the police officers can be guarding this place as we are waiting for demolishing of this area. And also so we'll do that next week. So we want to work with the deputy, so by next week we bring a container here.
Now, the Department of City Planning at the Lusaka City Council has been conducting an audit of such buildings to have them either sold off in the event that their owner is recognized, and in the case that the owner is not known, for them to be demolished. Security has been one of the major concerns in the face of communities that have such buildings. Zipporah Mushala, Camnet News, Lusaka. So there you have it. That was a story on the state of security, and really this actually paints a picture of many communities here in Lusaka which are densely populated, and that is the same situation really in many of these communities, and they really need this police security, patrols and all that. And Mercy, what are your thoughts maybe before we move on?
Yeah, it's like what you have said. We need a lot of police need to intensify their patrols in such areas, because we cannot keep on having a reoccurrence of such. Because I don't know if you have noticed, we have done, I think, about 3 or 4 dead body stories at Camnet TV in the space of 1 month. It's something that is causing for quick measures to be done, especially by the police, in terms of intensifying security in such areas, patrols. Let the police go there, let the police secure the places, because the cry for junkies in areas has been very loud, but yet very little has been done about it. So first and foremost, security has to be strengthened. Then second of all, community members themselves should be able to alert the police in due time before cases get to escalates to a point of emergency. Let them inform them to say, okay, in such and such an area we're experiencing this, so that before any bad thing happens, the police already have an idea of what is going on in that particular area. Otherwise, it's something very sad, and it's something that really needs to be dealt with.
Yes, definitely. And moving on, Mercy, today being Unity Day, we're looking at unity in the country beyond politics. Now, ever since we had a change of government in August last year, we've seen a number of, the political scene has been very active. We've seen a number of arrests of different people, maybe in the name of clearing the maze, which was allegedly created in the past. So I've seen a number of arrests, especially from former ruling Patriotic Front members, and all that. So there's been this talk saying the fight against corruption is political, there's division in the country, and all those things. And so today, being Unity Day, we are going to be joined by the founder of the Movement for National Values and Principles, Mr. Jose Kunda, who's just going to help us discuss the state of our country at the moment. What do we need to do to unite as a country beyond politics? And so, just to set a tone for our story, we're going to take a look. Just to set a tone for our interview, rather, we're going to take a look at the story which was done on 13th January, where we saw the arrest of the publicity chairperson in the PF, and that is Mr. Raphael Nakachinda. Let's just take a look at the story and join us on the other side. Barely a month after Patriotic Front PF member of the Central Committee in charge of information and publicity, Raphael Nakachinda, was warned and cautioned against bringing the name of the head of state to ridicule, he was summoned back at the police force headquarters Thursday for questioning on other allegations. In his usual style, the politician, also known for his famous Operation Binoculars, came prepared to spend the night in the cells, carrying with him a face cloth, bathing soap, a toothbrush and toothpaste. He was escorted by former Lusaka Province Minister Mr. Bowman Lusambo.
Well, I'm ready. It's basically, we have braced ourselves that for the next 5 years, every time we engage politically, next thing is to go into the hotels called cells. So I have come with the paste towel, my soap and the toothbrush, just getting ready for the exercise. And obviously, you know, I have to work with the slippers. My colleague here went in the other day, came out today, and will continue to go in and come out. And the only thing that Mr. Akande must be advised is that there is a limit to which you can intimidate citizens using law enforcement agencies.
After over 2 hours of questioning, he was taken to Woodlands Police Station, where he has been detained. His lawyers, Makebe Zulu and Jonas Zimba, have promised to explore legal avenues to ensure the client is freed from police custody.
Well, bond will assume that there's a charge that is hanging over your head. So if there's no charge that's hanging over your head, then that's, you can't apply for a bond. But perhaps the option available to us is habeas corpus, and we are exploring all options that are available before us.
Meanwhile, police spokesperson Mr. Reha Monga says Mr. Nakachinda has been warned and cautioned against defamation of the president, as well as the use of vulgar language on the head of state.
This is in relation to the utterances he made during his campaign trail in Chilenjes, Mapoloto area between 6th to 12th of January 2022. In the recording, which went viral on various social media platforms, he is alleging that the Republican president, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, and his friends are planning to evict residents of Mapoloto and build a shopping mall there. In the same recording, the accused is alleged to have used vulgar language against the Republican president. He has since been detained in police custody.
There is a plan to demolish all the houses in Mapoloto, those cabins. Mr. Hakainde Hichilema has found friends who he wants to bring and build a mall there.
Patriotic Front Acting Secretary General Mr. Nixon Chilangwa has alleged political persecution.
It's unfortunate that we are seeing this trend in our country, where opposition leaders, especially those from the Patriotic Front, are continuously being charged and being detained without charges. We are not saying that people should not be made accountable for crimes committed, but the line that is being drawn in all this, it's all about PF leaders.
Meanwhile, Foundation for Democratic Process FODEP Executive Director Mr. George Chimembe feels it is not political persecution.
I don't think there's a political hand in what is happening, and I don't think it is witch hunting. What is happening is as a result of what the people that are being targeted did.
For now, Camnet News will continue to monitor the situation to see how it unfolds. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka. So there you have it. That was the story on the arrest of the PF chairperson for publicity and information, Mr. Rafael Nakachinda. And of course, he's not the only one who's been arrested. There has been Honorable Bowman Lusambo and many others. And so this has really caused, or set fire rather, to the political scene. And so we have been joined by Mr. Joseph Kunda, who's actually Movement for National Values and Principles founder, to just help us discuss Unity Day in the country. So good morning and welcome to the show.
Good morning, Zipporah, and good morning, Messi.
Thank you, son. Good morning.
So today is Unity Day. So can you just give us an analysis of the state of the country currently? Are we united, or what are we missing?
In general, I would say we are enjoying average unity in our country. Though not a unity in complete or in an absolute sense, but relatively, I would say we are enjoying unity. However, there are a number of areas where we need to make improvements and amends in the way we are handling matters, because we have some dissatisfactions, we have discontentments, we have despondencies among the people, in the sense that there is a feeling on some camps, especially in the political arena, that others from the opposition especially from the Patriotic Front administration, feel that they are being targeted and that they are being persecuted, as per se. While the President, His Excellency himself, is very categorical in his sentiments, and repeatedly he has come out to emphasize the need for social justice and equity, and also to ensure that no one is discriminated in his administration. However, we notice that the opposite is actually what is happening. Yeah, because we must be honest by calling a spade a spade. We have a number of instances and situations where certain individuals are being mistreated anyway, and others are being harassed. And some mistreatment is actually taking place in the country, and others are being victimized, especially in the name of being politicians. We are talking about the arrest and detention of Honorable Mumbi Piri, the former Deputy Secretary General for the Patriotic Front, who is still in custody. She's still in detention. It's been now over 137 days, if I can remember very well, since she was arrested, and she is in detention. She hasn't appeared before court yet. President Hakainde Hichilema was in detention for about 127 days. Although, of course, it's history now and it's water under the bridge, he is still talking about it. And to be honest, he appears to be bitter even up to now, though it's not supposed to be like that, because he is now the father of the nation. He is supposed to forego such a situation and forget about what happened and accommodate the situation, because once he starts showing some signs of bitterness, it's very easy for him to retaliate in one sense or the other. It was just yesterday, if not the other day, he was presiding over the Luindi ceremony in southern province. Is it in Monze? There was a traditional ceremony that he went to attend, being a patron of that ceremony. And he came out a little bit strong at some point, and I remember him saying, thank you so much for voting for the new government. Of course, he didn't specify. He simply said, for the change of government for all citizens. Yeah, but he, in his tone of voice, he was quoted saying, a ruthless government, for liberating us from that government. So you can still sense from the intonations and from the way the president is coming out that he's still hurt, he's still bitter. No wonder people are saying the president must move on. He must move on.
Don't you feel it's just maybe politics? Because the PF similarly, they comment on the UPN in such a manner. Could it not just be politics? Really?
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. We need to live above the political sensations and scenarios. I am one person who was also victimized. If I can tell you that I've also been incarcerated before, I've been to prison also.
For what reason specifically?
For what I never committed. I'm not here to discuss that. And I may not go into details over that. But I'm no longer bitter, and I do not recite what I went through. Instead, I've picked lessons and I've moved on. So what we are trying to say is that it's not really a comfortable scenario where His Excellency, the President himself, must keep recalling and reflecting on the brutality that he went through. Similarly, it wouldn't be better to simply confine ourselves and limiting our understanding that the Patriotic Front was a ruthless government. It was a brutal regime. In fact, a regime is not a good term. Usually we use the term regime in a military cantonment, you know, where there is thuggery, and then throughout you are being dictated, you are being told what to do. So in a dictatorial governance system, a military government, that's where you might use the term regime. It's not a very good term anyway. While we agree and admit the fact that the Patriotic Front government was characterized by the cadres who usurped the legitimate institutions and abused a lot of powers. That is very true. But we still have good things that we can talk about that the Patriotic Front accomplished. So if we are not careful, yes, the New Dawn administration is doing all it can, and they are trying to unite the country. But in the brackets, it's still being seen that there is some vindictiveness being seen on the part of the ruling party towards the opposition, which is not supposed to be the case. We should do away with that connotation. We also have a situation where the law enforcement agencies, the Anti-Corruption Commission, the Drug Enforcement Commission, the police themselves, and many other institutions, including FIC, Financial Intelligence Center, and the Auditor General Institution as well, where they've just come up from nowhere. One would think, where were they all this time? Because they are more active now.
They have been given independence.
They've had independence. They've had that independence. Yes, they always say there was no political will. Who took the political will from them? Even the judiciary, who took the political will?
So do you feel that, then your argument, do you feel that the investigative wings are being used for political
Exactly.
mileage?
They are being used. We don't want to see any hand of the government in political...
You have been assured by the president
law
that
enforcement.
they will act independently.
The president has been very categorical, he's been very candid, he is forthright, and repeatedly has talked about this, but we are not seeing it in action. What is being said and what is being done is totally different.
Okay, just to take you back a little
Just
bit.
recently we had a printout, a document that was running on social media, where about 24 names were published of deputy commissioners, deputy high commissioners who are to serve as diplomats in foreign countries, and some secretaries, press secretaries, and others. And what was seen on social media characterized a good number of names coming from Southern Province and possibly Western Province and Northwestern Province. It brought out a lot of talking, I'm not trying to confirm that the list was genuine. It may not be genuine because even the government has not confirmed. But I should mention, Zipporah, to you that oftentimes what leaks on social media comes to pass. We are not seeing this for the first time. And I would like to challenge the New Dawn administration. If at all that list that is in circulation on social media is real, the appointing authority must revisit their decision. Or else they are harnessing emotions of the people. You know, we don't want to disturb the peace that we enjoy as a country. And let me be honest with you. It doesn't mean once you are peaceful that you would always remain peaceful. I can be peaceful the way I came here, but you can agitate me. You know, you can provoke me. You can invoke a situation. You know,
so, Mr. Kunda,
once sometimes I'm irritated, I'll be forced to react. You know, I'll reciprocate in my reaction. You know, because I have to fight back. That's how we are created as human beings. You know, we have the hormones that prepare
So
us
do you
to
feel the
respond.
UPND is irritated and is fighting back?
Not necessarily. I'm not saying the UPND is irritated, not necessarily, but they seem to be vengeful in their actions.
Okay, Mr. Kunda, maybe just as an
example. We do not
example.
want the government to keep on referring to what they went through when they were in opposition. We want this to come to an end. And let me be very honest and categorical. As movement for promoting national values and principles, me being the founder of that organization, a person who promotes equity in the country, who promotes national unity, who promote fairness, non-biasness, patriotism in the country. I'm calling upon the new government to rethink their strategies. I think they need to replan.
How better can they do it?
Let them stop being bitter, or else the situation, they are making Zambians becoming agitative, and people might react towards them. People might conclude in the end that they are trying to be persecuting instead of allowing the situation and law enforcement institutions, including the judiciary, to handle matters properly. They are trying to make the situation, become fragile and tempers to flare in the country. And we don't want such a situation. So we are calling upon the ruling party, especially His Excellency himself, to tone down, to stop being bitter. He is a father now of this country. He is not a UPND anymore, only, but the Republican president who was sworn in, he was sworn in to defend all the citizens, and he has to ensure that there is no biasness in the running of affairs. We want representation in all the appointments. All the tribes, we want them to be represented. In a situation where names are coming out seemingly as if the country is owned by a particular tribe,
But we have seen in the appointment of ministers, we have seen...
If the authorities are not careful, if the UPND are not careful, they are agitating the Tongas to be bitter. Because they have kept telling the Tongas, you people, they never wanted us to rule, but now we are ruling.
But where exactly did they say that?
I would even say, for the first time that the president is visiting a province for 5 days. He has never visited any other province for 5 days anyway.
So, in your point of view,
if he is visiting Northern Province, next time, we want him to schedule the visit for 5 days again. In Northern Province, then he should go also to Western Province for 5 days. Let him not go to Southern Province where he comes from for 5 days, and then go to Eastern Province for 1 day. Who will complain? He is supposed to be fair and biased.
Mr. Kunda, just take you back a little bit.
Because all the provinces to him are the same. So we are promoting unity. When we talk about unity, this must be seen in everything. In everything. You must be equal in everything. I should not say I'm not divisive. I'm not tribal. When I just want to talk to people of my tribe. When I want to be surrounded by people of my tribe only. No. I should be balanced. When you look at the administration of MP and VP, we have the representation of all the tribes. All the tribes.
But we have seen in the appointment of the president so far a representation, just an example of the presidential spokesperson, that's Ebemba, and there are many other.
Yes.
So, and in the appointment of ministers, we have seen from Northern Province, Eastern, and all that really.
That's why I'm not talking about the composition of the cabinet. I'm not talking about
just
that.
Over. Okay, anyway, just take
I'm not talking about that.
Okay, and just take you back a little bit, where you mentioned about Ms. Mumbi Piri.
Yes, please.
Being arrested.
We don't want, the president said, people should only be in detention. Of course, we know that certain cases, you may go beyond that. There are certain cases that are not bailable. Okay. There are certain cases that are not bondable. That we understand. Treason, even murder itself. But what we are saying is, Let's say Madam Mumbipiri appear before court. Why is she not appearing before court? Where are the judges? Why is she still in detention? Is she being punished?
Isn't it a matter of the police in this case? So I'll give an example. For example, we have heard maybe cries from different stakeholders saying that maybe such and such a person should be arrested because maybe it is felt that they committed certain maybe corruption acts. But then the head of state, of course, has been saying we can't persecute that person because it's not us doing the persecution, but investigative wings. So in that vein, when we come to Ms. Mumbipiri, shouldn't it be a matter of the police and the courts and not really the UPND itself? Since we've seen it seemingly acting, maybe we've seen some cases maybe going slow in terms of actually pouncing on those.
Why I'm actually attributing some arrests that are taking place, some prosecutions that are taking place to the government is that there are a number of cases that happened some time back, and the Inspector General of Police is on record to have said all cases that took place, whether in 2016, we are revisiting them. We are revisiting them. Well, that's good. But the question is, could it be that the law enforcement institutions that handled these matters didn't do it efficiently and prudently? Could it be that the government now, the UPND government, has no confidence in the previous institutions? Because it's not the PF that were handling all the matters. It's the institutions, actually. The PF is a political party that was in government. But the administration of the government has been there, and it's still there. Even if we have a change of government, we don't change the administration. No. The administration remains the same. The police have their own ethics. They are guided by the law, by the constitution. So could it be that this is when they've now realized that that could have been an offense, you know? So no wonder people are suspecting that probably politicians are having a hand in the way matters are being handled.
Maybe it's
otherwise, for the sake of promoting national unity, we want to avoid, such situations. Mercy. There are about 3 things that personally I don't like in my life. I don't like to be asking these 3 questions. I'm not comfortable. Even here, if you ask me these questions, I will not answer them.
What are those questions?
When you ask me a question like, sir, what tribe are you? I'll never tell you my tribe.
That's our...
I don't mention about my tribe. I don't like people who want to know where I come from. Yeah, I don't want.
Okay,
but isn't that the most of...
Which religion, which church are you? I don't like that question. Sir, which church do you worship with? The issue of worship is a personal issue, and it's a matter to do with one's conscience. It's up to me to choose which church I should go to, and if I want, I may not belong anywhere. It's about my relationship with God, and then questions like, are you married? It's as good as somebody asking me, what is your status? Are you HIV positive or negative? I think that's too much personal, and that's going into someone's... what am I talking about? We don't want a situation where when I'm handling a matter, I have a situation that I'm handling, I'm more comfortable handling a matter that concerns people who share my tribe. Even when I'm in the office, yes, I may be a Bemba, I may be from Eastern Province, but when I'm in my office and then someone comes, I don't need to change the language. I don't need to change the language to suit the person who has come. You are Kunda, yes. Wawesu mwapoleni.
Mr. Kunda, while we're on the issue of tribe,
then it means you are being tribal, We are not saying we don't need to be affiliated to our tribes. Actually, we must be proud of our tribes. The way we saw the president attending a ceremony, and I like him. when he's posing like that, he's dancing.
Isn't that the same thing with what you were saying, that you don't want?
That is very good. No, that's different now. He was attending a ceremony.
Okay.
There. And you remember what the
apostle... So that one doesn't show tribalism.
You remember what the Apostle Paul said in the Bible? When I go to Rome, I do what the Romans do. Yeah. So when he goes to... I like the president. This time he went to Copperbelt. He changed his language. He started speaking Kopala language. Copperbelt has a language. Are you aware? Zipporah? Yeah, they have their own language also. So he started speaking Kopala. Mulishani wa Kopala. So Shani Fintwa Pomuzindangwa and whatever. They have their own language. He suited very well, and believe me, the president is loved in this country, and he likes, wherever he goes, he behaves like that. But what we are saying is, there is no tribe in this country that should feel it's superior than the other. We should not be hearing sentiments like, it's now our time.
Mr. Munda, who said those words?
It's our time.
Who said those words? Earlier you also mentioned...
I'm a civil society leader, and I preside over a very big organization that has structured across the country.
Okay, so who
said those words? You can't ask me that question, Zipporah, to say, where did you hear that?
You're alleging, Mr. Munda, so you need to know...
No, I'm not alleging. What I'm talking about is what it is. I don't...
Is that what it is right now?
That is what it is. Each and every tribe wants to prove. When the PF were there, the people from Luapula dominated this country.
Is that so?
Dominated. We had a lot of cabinet ministers from one province. From one province. That's why the PF also must be shy when they are condemning the UPND government. They must be remorseful. They must be remorseful. The cabinet is balanced. I should be honest with you. Cabinet,
in terms of cabinet, it is
well balanced.
No, so I have a question.
It has representation of all the provinces. The president truly is promoting national unity in the appointments of cabinet ministers. In the previous administration, many of the cabinet ministers were either from Eastern Province and Northern Muchinga, Luapula. That's the way it was, But in this cabinet, the appointments are balanced, But that does not stop me from commenting on the injustices going through.
Such as?
And happening in the country.
Such
as? Prosecutorial misconduct.
Okay.
But we have heard
too much prosecutorial misconduct.
So, shouldn't you blame the institutions and not the UPND government, given that it has said it has given them, maybe it is detaching itself and giving them that independence to work?
Well, we should do that, but since now the president is presiding over the affairs, we want him to come out strongly against certain situations and call out for justice in some matters. We would want the president just to come out and say, why is Mumbipiri not going to court? Can I also hear about this? Yesterday I was listening to a program where the Solicitor General attended an interview. In fact, it was a discussion. They were a panel. There were three of them, and they were being interviewed. There was Gia's executive director, my colleague, Chipenzi, and there was Mr. Muchende, state council, Muchende. Yeah. And he came out so clearly on legal matters, and I liked him. I'm actually making an appointment meeting him. Anytime soon. I should be meeting him. I should have a meeting with him because I have a number of issues that I need to bring to his attention of some matters that our organization is handling in correctional facilities, even some matters of injustice. I should mention even right now, before you, Zipporah and Messi, let me take this as an advantage. We had a colleague who died yesterday by the name of Muhau. He was convicted 2 months ago for what he never committed. Now you may ask me to say, how do you know that he never committed? Our legal department from MPNVP carried out their own investigations. We even retrieved the judgment of that case, and we have launched an appeal before court. But then this individual, there were 4 of them working for an Indian somewhere, and then something went missing in that shop, and then the Indian simply said, it's you who stole, it's you. Then they said, no, it's not us. What have you seen? What exhibit? Now, the supervisor, who was a fellow Indian, who had the details about that matter, was sent back to, I don't know whether it's Bangladesh or India, because he's the one who was responsible for whatever went missing. He was sent back, you know. And then the matter was taken before court. Then it was dismissed because it lacked merit, you know. And what does this guy, this Indian, do? He goes to another magistrate and appeal. And then these guys are rearrested, given the same charge. It's never there in law. You cannot be charged the same charge. Then the charge needed to be amended. It's either you amend the charge, you know. But they were slapped the same charge again. And the matter went back before court. And within a shortest period of time, they were convicted to 3 years. Now, that was after 2 years. The Indian said, no, you have to be convicted. So they were sentenced to 3 years imprisonment. Now, this gentleman, I found him when we were doing the visit as an organization in some correctional facilities. So we found him at Kamwala remand. He developed some ulcers, some boils on his body. You know, he had vipute on his body. He had one here, another one here, 3 at the back. So he was admitted at UTH. So we followed up that story. And we started visiting him in E21 ward, and we started carrying out some investigations. So that's how we made some appeal, so that he could be put on bail and be nursed at home, because the place was not conducive. Now look at what happened. He was in handcuffs, yeah, being a convict. So he was in handcuffs. Now, can you imagine how inhumane this treatment was? There is an ulcer here, there is a ball, and then the same hand is tied, the leg is also tied. So the legs developed numbness, the nerves gave up. So he stopped walking. You know, can you imagine that we had to establish, we even spoke to the doctor who was attending to him to find out his medical status. And we discovered that he was not HIV positive, no, except he contracted that disease because of the contagiousness of the place where he was detained at Kamwala. You know, the place is terrible. It's terrible. And in Kamwala Correctional Facility is housing about 1,000 plus. A facility that is just supposed to accommodate 190 people. It's now accommodating sometimes 1,300. Chimbokaila is the same. It has times 4 or 5 of the number it's supposed to have. So there is injustice there, you know. There is injustice. I'm happy the president has helped in refurbishing the correctional facility where he was at Kabwe, maximum, and the correctional service chief is projecting that in all correctional facilities across the country, a similar thing will be done, where the beddings have been bought and then bunk beds are also being put in place, and they're also improving the... But we still have so many facilities where people are really being treated like animals, you know. So we wrote a letter to the board chairperson for parole, requesting that this person must be given presidential pardon, looking at his medical condition. And we wrote that letter and we sent it, We've even posted that letter on our official page for the organization. We've posted it, even on Facebook, we posted that letter. Unfortunately, there's been a lot of procrastination in attending to this guy until yesterday. The father called me and said, Mr. Kunda, Muya has left us. He has died. He has given up. You know, the man went into depression. The young man went into depression. He stopped going to the toilet. He stopped eating for almost a week. So he became fragile. He just gave up. He just gave up because he was waiting for justice, but justice was not coming. So he had to die. You know, we have so many cases of injustice in this country. The Justice Minister himself, Honorable Haimbe, brought a report recently that some individuals are still in detention for the gassing incident that took place 2 years ago, over 2 years ago, and he found them in detention in Southern Province. But can you imagine that we have individuals who have been in detention for over 5 years? We had one who served in detention, not convicted. He never attended court for almost 10 years. No wonder we are saying, you know, let's not just have the president complain about the 127 days only. No, 27 days. 127 actually are few. Me, it was 7 months. Anyway, 7 months. I was detained at home. I was given bail, but I was restricted to my home until I was cleared. In 7 months, but I don't talk about it. Yeah, there are so many citizens who are suffering in this country, who are going through a lot of injustice. But I'm happy that the Solicitor General, State Counsel Muchende, said that they've now come up with a formidable arrangement where they are going to all correctional facilities to ensure that anyone who has not appeared before court must receive justice. The sub pronouncements, and I have it, I think I received it on my page. You know, I received it on my page. Let me just, if you don't mind, let me just read it. You know, I received it just yesterday, that message, because it was really good news to me, and I was thrilled upon learning that Justice Ministry has gone ahead. And that's where you can appreciate the coming in of his President HH. You know, God has a way of doing things. Jehovah could have allowed the President HH to go through that injustice so that he can come out and help others who are going through that, because he understands. Even when President HH is speaking, you can feel it. You can feel it that he has gone through this. He knows the pain that is caused by the injustice, you know. Yeah. So
okay, even as we get to conclude on this segment, Mr.
Yes,
Kunda, how best do you feel like since okay?
I've just picked it, Zipporah, by Patricia Banda. Solicitor General Marshall Muchende says his office will deal with cases of people who have been detained in prisons for a long time without trial. Mr. Muchende says he has realized that many people do not know that they can seek help from his office. He notes that a lot of sensitization will be needed as government works on delivering change in the justice system. Mr. Muchende was speaking with ZNBC News in Lusaka. So I received this news, and it was just too good to me, you know. I felt very happy. You know why I'm so passionate about national unity? It's one of our national values. We have 14 national values enshrined within our Zambian constitution in Article number 8 and 9. The amended 2016 Act number 2 of our constitution has those 14 national values. But now, we are not just discussing national unity on its own, because we can't discuss national values in isolation. They corroborate. You know, we can't discuss national values without discussing discrimination, without discussing fairness, without discussing equity, without...
How best can we unite, even as we conclude on this segment? How best, putting in factor all those issues you've said, how best can we unite?
Already the New Dawn administration is underway. and they have what it takes to unite the country. The president is yet to make certain pronouncements about the unity and how he intends to make sure that these ethnic divisions that rocked our country some time back should be a matter of the past. So very soon, let me not open up. I may have an idea about what the government is putting in place, but let me leave it to the authorities. At the right time, they will make announcements and pronouncements about it. But I can assure you, Zipporah, that this government is so much determined to ensure that they promote equity in this country and they promote national unity, and that no one should be marginalized, but everyone must receive fair treatment. And they are on course doing that. I've just been reading for you the statement from the Solicitor General, and I've just told you about the resolve made by the Justice Minister, who has resolved to touring all correctional facilities and ensuring that the Justice Department of our government attend to all cases expeditiously. And cases must be disposed as quickly as possible. We don't want to see a situation where people should stand on trial for over 5 years. Somebody has just been going to court. No. I think the government is working out means of ensuring that there should be a certain period of time that should be given to a case. The Solicitor General himself uttered something that that really made me feel happy. He said, justice delayed is justice denied. But again, justice hurried is justice crushed. You know, he balanced up those two. So justice must not be rushed, but again, justice must not be delayed. So we need to meet a common denominator somewhere in terms of ensuring that our people receive justice in the country.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Kunda, and to our viewers out there, thank you. You can keep contributing on Facebook as you have. You have a number of comments, but I'm sure you don't have time to read them. And so just now, this is where we come to the end of this segment, and we're going to be joined by Reverend Solomon Bulo, who's a clergy, who's just going to drive us or lead us into talking about the role of the church in promoting national unity. So just take a short break. Do stay tuned in.
They were not there when God created you.
So welcome back to the show, and in this segment we have been joined by Reverend Solomon Bulo, who's a clergy and who's actually from the Declaration of Zambia as a Christian Nation, which is an organization that actually aims at promoting values in the country. And so, Reverend, welcome to the studio, first of all.
Oh, thank you very much, Zipporah, and thank you very much, viewers.
And so maybe just what is your message today to the country, being able to celebrate Unity Day?
Okay. I would just want to thank God for this opportunity to be here and to take control of the airwaves.
In the spiritual airwaves.
Yes. First of all, I want to talk about this Heroes and Unity Day. It appears most of us will just concentrate on trade fair. And
trade fair.
And resting, you know. Maybe chilling and so on. But from the written knowledge that I have concerning this day, meaning that it is a day that we should remember the heroes of this nation during this holiday. And also the unity that our forefathers fought for, especially Dr. Kenneth Kaunda, when he used to say, Tiende pamozi, ndi mtima umo. And one Zambia, one nation. And we thank God that our current president also has added, said one Zambia, one nation. One nation, one people. And I was just saying that maybe in the near future, we should say one Zambia, one nation, one people, one Africa, one Africa, one world.
Okay,
uniting the entire globe.
Yes. And just to our viewers out there, you can comment on Facebook and let us know your views, because today we don't have our phone lines, but you can always drop your messages on Facebook. And so maybe, Reverend, already we have some messages here on Facebook given the topic that we have. And so one question here says, unity is difficult in a multi-party democracy. So maybe as the church, what role do you feel you have to unite the country in a multi-party democracy like Zambia, since there has been all this division arising from maybe political differences?
Yeah. You know, the church has got a very important role in uniting the nation. Because when you follow from Genesis to Revelation, you find that the church has been there always speaking about unity. When God was creating man, here in Genesis 1:26, said, let us create man in our image. It means it was talking about unity. And then when you talk about that time, we had 12 tribes. And that those people were united. They entered the promised land. And then also when you look at the Psalms 133, it says, how pleasant it is for brethren to do together in unity. There the Lord commands what? A blessing. So we see that from the Genesis to Revelation, in fact, even Jesus Christ himself, he prayed. He said in John, that is 17:21, said that I pray for them that they may be one, as I am, as we are one. So we see that God is always talking about unity. And then also, when you look at Exodus, when Moses was leading God's people, we see that there was arose division amongst the people. I mean, not necessarily division, but disputes. But the father-in-law came in, said, no, it's not good for you to spend the whole day settling dispute. Choose men. I think it was after unity. And then when you look also in Hebrews 5, verse 1, we read that priests, us as clergy, were encouraged to promote unity in the church. That's why it's not good for a clergy to be partisan. You know, we need to be neutral. So because there are things that we are holding. We are God's representative here on earth, meaning we have to take the sins of the people on the altar before God, meaning that we have to prepare to pray for people despite their colors, political affiliation, and so on. So that's why unity is very, very important. Even in fact, the Bible talks about one faith, one baptism, one body. all these are about unity. Even when baptizing people, we say, we baptize you in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. So you find that all these are talking about unity.
So away from, even before we go further to talk about political disputes or disparities that are there, the church in itself seems to be in division, because looking at the fact that we are one church, one body of Christ, it looks at us as one, but we have many doctrines. Yes. We have churches with different doctrines, and that alone causes a bit of, I don't want to say confusion, but differences. So now, as the church, what message should we be having? Because we are claiming to be one body, but yet we are of different characters, of different understanding. How best can unity be preached when the church itself is seemingly divided by doctrines?
Yes. I know that people think that the church is divided. But the church is not divided, because we are all got one goal. That is to prepare God's people to enter heaven. And so meaning that we might differ, of course, in the approach. Okay. Because of our doctrinal issues and so on. But you see, even if you look at there was one day when I was trying to look at the doctrine of the church. For example, the Catholic, they are on arms, helping the people. And then you look at the Pentecostal, they're on the power.
On tongues.
The
partnership.
Yes. And then also when you look at with Jehovah's Witness, the
evangelism.
Yes, evangelism. Yeah. What about, and then seventh day Sabbath. You see, so what I would say that each church has just picked one point or emphasized one point, but you find that the goal is one.
Okay.
Yes, we are not divided, but we may differ in doctrine, but we're not divided, we're one.
So when it comes to maybe issues of governance, what message do you feel the church should be sending, given that, of course, in the past we've heard maybe this church supporting this certain political party, that church supporting that political. What message do you feel they should have when it comes to issues of governance?
In the issues of governance, we should learn from our founding fathers who have kept Zambia in unity. We don't have wars, we don't have tribalism, for example. I'm married to a Tonga, but I'm a Tumbuka. You see, the forefathers, starting from Keke, Chiluba, Manawasa, Rupia, Sata, and Lungu, now we've got HH. We find all these presidents have been promoting unity. So, what I'm saying that it's wrong for a clergy, for a man of God to support a particular political party. As I said last time, I was here, I was invited, I was privileged to be at State House. I remember there was one person who used to say that in my church, I don't allow the opposition. I just allow the ruling party visit me.
Okay.
That was, and then we were saying that, wow, how can he say such a thing? Because we should be aware of the things that can divide us as a nation. So things like politics, if a pastor is involved in politics, you find that he will divide the church. And if a pastor is a tribal pastor, is also divide the church. Or the pastor likes money, afuna chabe wandalama chabe kutandalira wandalama, but also kasafuna. So it means we can also divide the church. I thank God that I'm laboring in Mrs. Compound. You know, after testing life at North Mid Assembly and also working for ZESCO. You know, I had a lot of money, all the things, but I thank God that I'm laboring among the poor people. But when it comes to visitation, I don't choose. I just visit everybody. And we meet the needs of every member of the church. So we should do, as a clergy, we should not be involved in political parties, because we are going to divide the church. Instead, we should promote the things that would bring unity in this nation. Things such as sports. You know, we have got heroes in sports. Heroes of this world. You find that sports unite us. When we go to the football ground, Heroes Stadium, we don't look at the tribe and so on. And also we should look at the things like a church. We should promote people in the church. We should not be partisan also, because we are going to chase away some members. I remember that time when we were caught up in Butane, there were some pastors who were very involved, running around Butane.
But doesn't that concern them? To what extent?
Were they in support of the Butane?
So it was, I'm talking about are the pastors who are supporting Butane.
Now, sir, to what extent can a man of God or a clergyman not involve themselves in politics? Because in as much as we're trying to keep a non-partisan nature, these matters of governance concerns everybody. Yes. If they make certain policies, they're also going to affect the church. Take, for instance, the one on COVID-19. The church was given a 1 hour time and people were like, they're giving the church 1 hour to congregate, but then they're giving bars 2 hours. All those are matters of governance because the policies are coming from government. So how then can the church really detach from political sentiments, while the decisions that they make also affect them?
Yes, what I'm saying is that when I was talking about the church not involved in politics, I was talking about the clergy.
Taking sides.
Taking sides. I'm talking about it's wrong for a man of God.
Okay.
But as members, they are free to join any political party. Well, that's why in our church we are encouraging people to be involved in what directions. I'm talking about the constituency elections and national elections, because the decisions are made in parliament. All the decisions are made in parliament. So if we have got a parliament that's full of believers, then we are safe as a Christian nation. But when we have got people who are making rules or laws for this nation and non-believers, we are in problem. That's why we're encouraging, because we cannot change things by just praying in church. We have to be involved. So
even actually, like maybe even offering guidance.
Yes. But what I'm saying that the clergy should not be involved in politics. I mean, it is politics of this. But our members, we can encourage them to join the party of their choice.
So we have seen, still on politics, we have seen many people saying that politicians have turned youth into tools of violence. Now my question is, what role is the church playing in ensuring a message of peace is preached amongst the youths?
Amongst the youth.
Yes.
That's why I like Ephesians chapter 4, verse 3, I think somewhere there, where it says, believers are encouraged to make every effort to keep the unit of the spirit in the body of peace, meaning that the church should teach. I mean, the pastors as clergy men, we should find time to be with the youth at our local churches, who can also influence other youths. For example, I thank God during this period. As a church, yesterday we had couples, and because unity, when they're talking about unity, should start from home. You cannot talk about unity at the national level when at home there's no unity, and the church level there's no unity, and we can't talk about the unity. So what I'm trying to say that, yes, the youth are being used during the campaign, but the pastor should spend time. And I thank God that this afternoon, I'm meeting the youth. We have got singles fellowship at church in Mrs. So what we are saying is that we should spend time with the youth and tell them the real values of Christian nation.
Okay, and just now we'll just take a look at one of the stories that we actually compiled on the role of the church in actually uniting the country. So this was actually Bishop Joseph Kajile was actually commenting on the issue of the role of the church in terms of governance. Let's just take a look at that story. The status of Zambia as a Christian nation is clearly recognized in the country's constitution. It is for this reason that the guidance of the church is sought on various national matters, as its voice is held in high regard. A clergyman, Bishop Joseph Kajila, however, notes that the church in Zambia has grown cold and divided since the 12th August 2021 general elections, as it was highly politicized. In an interview, Bishop Kajila, however, notes that there is need for the church to wake up and recognize its role in governance, stating that the country is divided and in need of serious moral guidance. Various happenings have characterized the political scene of recent, such as the seizure of property suspected to be proceeds of crime belonging to some political figures and discharging of the same by the courts of law. This has caused talk and divergent views among political players. The clergyman says it is in such times that the church should rise up and play its role.
So I think the way forward is we just need to repent, start afresh and be there as the mirror of society to unite the nation. It is quite painful that the people that belong in our various denominations, they depend on us church leaders. And so they come from different political parties. And when we stand up, to lead a particular political inclination, it divides the church. And I think those are some of the things we need to avoid. So the way forward, therefore, is let's come back. Because of what happened in 2021 general election, the church is cold now. It's cold. It's heavily divided. It's like it's tired. It's time we come back, calling upon the name of the Lord so that we are revived again. And taking advantage of this platform, I'm calling upon the fathers of the nation, the fathers of the faith, lead the way, to help the church be revived.
Meanwhile, another clergyman, Reverend Solomon Imbulo, has aired similar views.
So I'm saying to the clergy that, please, fellow clergymen, let us not be partisan. Let us be people's representative before God, meaning we should take the issues that are surrounding the nation before God so that God can give us guidance.
They have called for the One Zambia, One Nation slogan to be reflected in the country. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
And there you have it. We're in the studio discussing how the church can preach unity amongst the people of Zambia. And in the studio we have the clergyman, Mr. Solomon. So back to you, sir. You were talking on how the church is playing a role in maintaining peace and unity in the country. Yes, sir. So we can move on to now, how best can we create unity in diversity of tribes? Looking at the fact that our former late president, Dr. Kaunda, he emphasized his whole reign of leadership into what's this, One Zambia, One Nation. He emphasized so much on the country being one. And then the following president, Chiluba, emphasized on unity in diversity.
Yes.
Do we see that continuing?
Yes. In fact, we can have, what it means that we can have different beliefs, but we have got one purpose, protect the interests of Zambia. We should put whatever we do in politics, economy, and so on, football, we should put Zambia first. We should. That's why I read that scripture which says that every person should make every effort. Whatever we do, we should put Zambia first. And I thank God that our current president also says that there's no one who's above the law. The law can visit anybody, meaning that the interest we should have is for Zambia. Whatever we do, we should promote the peace of Zambia. We thank God that there was a time I was listening to a story from Zimbabwe. There was this man who was wearing 2 uniforms. The down part was Shona. The upper part was Devere. And then remember that there was division there. There are fights there about tribalism. But here we thank God that we don't have. but the only two major tribes, that's Ndebele and Shona. So the Ndebele man, that man was in between. So the Ndebele man wanted to shoot the part which was not his. And the Shona man also wanted to shoot.
Now what do we mean of the man?
The part which was not his. So the man ended up having 2 bullets instead of 1 bullet. Because of different clothes that was wearing. So what I'm saying that in Zambia we've got 73 tribes, but we thank God that we are one. No, there's nothing like I'm Tumbuka, I am Ngoni, and this is what we should promote as we celebrate these heroes at Unity Day. Because our forefathers, I think it was after 10 years, that was 1974, that's when Kaunda realized that we should create the motto of one Zambia, one nation. And we thank God that they came in as missionaries from Malawi, and they settled in Tisani. So that's why I think Zambia is a blessed nation, because that in itself, it means he had to unite all the tribes in Zambia. He had to send a missionary, to bring the unity. And we see that the church also, we preach the same message because of one missionary. That was Jesus Christ. When he came, he was promoting what? Unity. So whoever ascends to power should also emulate our past presidents who have been promoting unity, Zambia, one nation.
So we have seen a lot of moral degradation amongst the people of Zambia. And like the Bible says, the house that is divided falls. Now, how best can we integrate or reconstruct or solidify the morals that the country has if that unity is going to be attained?
Yeah. In fact, I thank God for that question. Yesterday we were discussing, as we were coming from Kapos in a car with my wife. He was saying that, the question we had at Kapos was, why is it that there are more divorces in the Christian nation? When you go to the local courts, you find that there are more divorces. The numbers increasing, whether Christian or non-Christian. Yesterday we were looking at the causes of divorce in a marriage. So it was very interesting that some of the reasons that were advanced during the discussion were baseless. Short, people can work on them for their marriage to work out. But because of what we call moral decay, that's why we're having all these divorces now. It's like people have run away from God. That's why the church has got work to do to bring back people to God through preaching, not the gospel of money, but the gospel of unity. So that, as I said earlier on, unity starts from home. If the home is divided, it cannot stand. It will fall. So it means that if we have got strong marriages, and then you find that we are going to have a strong nation as well.
And so, Reverend, really, when we're talking, maybe going back to the issue of the church being depoliticized, what are your thoughts on maybe churches accepting donations from certain political parties? Does that maybe compromise the maybe fairness in terms of maybe political? I want your comment on that, because we've heard concerns really even from maybe if you talk about ACC, for example, we've had governors, activists discouraging politicians saying don't donate to investigative wings like the ACC because that actually compromise. How can you imagine a huge politician, a well-known politician, and then how do they investigate him like with that fairness and all that? So already in terms of the church, we're saying the church should actually be neutral and just have maybe like play a role of offering guidance. But should the church accept donations, maybe from such and such a political party?
Okay. Especially these things are very common during campaign.
Yes.
I remember I've got my...
Or should they reject, say, no, go back, God will provide for us? What are your thoughts on that issue?
Okay, that's a good one. So I remember during the campaign, I think one political party went to a certain church and donated, I think, a good sum of money, almost 40,000, and they were building, you know. And that was a miracle to them.
So they're going to say the miracle.
God answers to different ways. I mean, Zipporah.
So the pastor, I think he was blinded because the bribes brains the mind of the people.
So we call them bribes.
Should they accept?
So I'll come to that.
Are they bribes?
The donations, but they come at a timely manner. Now they won't come. They will come in 2026.
So we classify them as bribes.
Yes. I mean, I'm talking about the bribe. Since the pastor received the donation, I think his mind was brave.
They start seeing visions that this party will
he was saying, na tuikala sana kuno kunani muchechi muno. Ushenipate nshi
in the rain.
Tupela konda lama. Kanshi ipate mwana wakwalesa. Ngayawina. Ikatupela kofuti. Mama. So what I'm trying to say that I think the church is free to accept the nation, accept the bribe money.
And what's the difference?
The difference is that we're talking about Judas. When Judas was bought by the priest, what did he do? He wanted to show the priest where Jesus was, so that they could arrest him and kill him. So when he realized that he betrayed the master, he took the money back to the priest, and the priest refused. That no, we don't accept bribe money. So we see Judas being, I mean, he killed himself. So what I'm saying is that as a church, we should accept maybe clean money, not the money that is full of conditions.
But what if it's from a politician and it's clean money from a political party, the church?
What I'm saying, we should accept all the money. We should accept,
and that compromise.
Except that if that money is given with conditions. Then
no one will tell you a condition. They'll just give you, and then you'll be guilty on your own. You'll be like, let me support this person. Let me encourage my church to support them.
For us to, I mean, for a clergy, also look at it to be a miracle, or God has sent somebody to help. You know, but if that politician comes to the church and says, I'm giving you 50,000, vote for me. Come 2026, vote for me. Then we're saying, no, sir, go with your man, perish with your man.
On that one, I witnessed something from my church back home where a member of the same church was standing as a councillor, and then he could stand in church to say, vote for me. Should that be allowed? Is the member of a church and he later on stood as a councillor? So should that be allowed in church?
Okay. During campaign, you find that there are all these politicians who visit churches, including our church. I remember we had one political party that came, but thank God that they didn't bring Vitenge where they were labeled or logo, but they brought Vitenge which had national colors. You know? So napo savambili. So nauza mpingo tatvane tengani chapi. So wanafolesha mu church. But pateyo vote mulungu akusogoleleni. Listen to your spirit, to your heart. What God is saying. You are free to receive any gift, but you vote. Remember, it's God who puts people on authority. Don't be bribed by these gifts.
Interesting. So we should allow.
It's good to appoint leaders.
2026, I'll come and donate at your church. You will be guided, really.
Yes.
Okay. Anyway, even as we get to conclude, maybe what could be some of your final remarks, maybe to the church, really, and just to the nation in terms of unity.
Yes. And what I want us to see, especially the media, this day, especially the Unity Day, Heroes and Unity Day. I think the media should go deep into the foundation of this day. Why do we have a holiday? Because some people think that it's just time to rest. But we should be able to tell the nation, and especially the young ones who are coming up, that for us to enjoy the peace that we have here in Zambia, some people fought for this peace. The blood was shed. So we should treasure this one as a gift from God. And I'm just to, because the media people put a powerful tool, so that during this period of unity and Heroes Day, we should be able to talk more or play more tapes that talks about the importance of this break or holiday. That's Heroes and Unity Day. Because to a young man, or maybe some people have not really done maybe research or some, they will think that maybe it's just a day of trade fair, or maybe it's a time for resting. But it's a day to remember our heroes who fought for this nation. You know, that blood was shed. And the second thing is that we need to tell our young ones that we must be in unity as a nation. Maybe we can be in a different political parties. When it comes to church and as a nation, we should be one. Let not politics divide us as a nation. But instead, we can, it's a pity that some people are victims. My heart bleeds. Because maybe somebody belongs to PF. And then, because he supported PF, now we have got UPND. But you see that when those people, they tend to revenge. In short, we see people getting fired. But these are Zambians. And these are the people that voted, you know. So what I'm trying to say that wherever we are, at parliament level, judiciary, we're talking about maybe executive level, or maybe church, we should promote unity. We should not fire people because of their political affiliation. We are one Zambia, we are one nation. So that's what I can say that. And for the viewers out there, wherever you are, at home, and also it can be at home, at church, wherever you are, you should promote unity, to put Zambia at heart. Because the Bible says how good it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. So we can only be blessed as a nation if we are one. But when we are divided, it means we will fall. So those that are promoting tribes, or maybe their political parties in their working places, and so on, they should stop. We should promote the unity in diversity.
So thank you very much, Reverend, for those encouraging words. I'm sure we've learned one or two things, especially on donations. On donations, I really have an issue with that. The issue of donations.
It's actually the only take-home, donations.
My nephew actually wanted to leave that church. Because the party that was there, that time it was, I think it was PF that went to that church. So my nephew nearly wanted to leave that church because the pastor stood on the pulpit. No, let's support them. Let's support them. But he forgot that he has his people's representative. In his church, there were different people who belonged to different political parties. So that's why it is wrong for a church. But we can encourage our members to support.
To let the spirit lead.
To belong to the party of their choice.
Okay, so this is where we actually come to the conclusion of our breakfast show discussion on Unity Day. And earlier we were joined by Mr. Joseph Kunda, who's the founder for the National Movement for National Values and Principles. And now we have been joined by Reverend Solomon Bulo, who's a clergy, just to help us discuss the role of the church in governance. So we have a lot of takeaway points from there, but key among them is to not let issues of tribe and politics divide the nation, but actually to strive for the common good, which is national development overall and upholding of national morals. Mercy?
It is indeed true. Upholding national morals and integrity is one of the cardinal things that every Zambian, every well-meaning Zambian should be striving for, and not let politics or any other factor come in between the peace and the unity that our forefathers fought for. So it has been message, Chadika, discussing the unity, discussing the role that the church plays in uniting the nation on Unity Day. And Zipporah, your last remarks?
So this is where we actually come to the end of the segment. Do join Sharon Kalimbula and Patrick Soko tomorrow as they take you into politics. From us, it's until next week, Monday. Happy Unity Day.
Happy Unity Day.
Amen. Amen.